Now we come to the method of grinding the surface at the end of the rail. Turn the feed adjustment handle on the end surface grinding equipment clockwise until you are no longer able to turn it. Then adjust the 4 setting pieces so that they are all in contact with the rail and set the grinding wheel approximately 2 millimeters from the rail. Tighten the clamp handle. By turning the feed adjustment handle anti-clockwise, start the grinding wheel and move it forward until the wheel touches the rail. As soon as the grinding wheel touches the rail, gradually turn the feed adjustment handle anti-clockwise and move the wheel up and down to grind the end surface of the rail perpendicularly. After you have finished grinding, check that the ground surface is exactly perpendicular to the axis of the rail. Then set a square against the end of the rail and check the clearance between the rail and the square. Confirm that the longitudinal clearance is less than 0.25 millimeters and that there is no transverse gap. If the clearances are larger than these tolerances, then you must grind again. After checking, remove any remaining burrs on the rail with a hand file. Now we're going to ignite the burner and then adjust the flame. Please ignite the burner at least 50 millimeters away from the point where the 2 rails are to be joined. If the burner is ignited too close to the point where the 2 rails are to be joined, black smoke will affect the integrity of the pressure weld. Once you have ignited the burner, you can move it to the point where the 2 rails are to be joined and adjust the flame. For pressure welding of the rails, we would like to draw your attention to the following. During the initial heating phase, under no circumstances should you remove the flame from the point where the 2 rails are to be joined. After a short space of time, the part to be joined is moved toward the fixing frame. It is therefore necessary to move the position of the heating spot accordingly. As the surfaces in contact with the flame may swell, you should keep heating and rocking the burner so as to prevent the bottom part of the rails melting. We recommend you rock the burner in such a way that the flame focus scanning area is approximately 20 millimeters to the left and right of the point where the 2 rails are to be joined. Should you notice bending of the bottom of the rails despite rocking the burner, it will be necessary to insert buckling jigs beneath the rails and lift the rails up until the bottom part of the 2 rails again lie flat and in line. You can now prepare to trim the rail. When the remaining pressure welding thickness reaches 3 millimeters, remove the refractory panel on the bite side. Then push the upper bite inward until the bite holder pin is locked. When the amount of pressure welding to be done reaches 0, stop the pressure welding and move the right-hand side clamp cylinder backward. Then release the chuck that has bit into the rail. Turn the manual pressure welding selector valve to pull for an instant, then immediately switch to pull. Turn the pressure selector switch to the trimming position. After this procedure, turn off the burners and remove them. When the trimming pressure reaches 0, immediately cease trimming. Then remove the bite holder pin and move the trimmer backwards. As soon as the trimming step ends, reset the pressure welding machine. Remove the upper and bottom bites from the main body of the pressure welding machine. Raise the machine slightly using a crane and hold it in this raised position. Then move all of the cylinders backwards. Verify that all the chucks have been removed from the rail. After completing all these steps, raise the main body of the pressure welding machine still further and then completely remove it from the rail. Turn off the pump only when the pressure welding machine has been placed in a safe place. Remember to shake each of the manual switching valves from side to side to release the pressure within the piping. You must now carry out measurements to check for possible bends in the rail. Place the gauge for the hot rectifier in the middle against the upper surface of the rail and read with bare eyes the clearances both left and right of the reference points. If any longitudinal bend is observed, it may be corrected in the following manner. Place the setting metal piece of the rectifier on the joint surface, then move its cylinder to position the setting metal piece. Pump the pedal of the hydraulic pump for the hot rectifier to apply pressure until the clearances at the two reference points are equal. This correction process should be carried out quickly when the rails are still hot and malleable. A transverse bend may be determined in the same way by placing the gauge for the hot rectifier in the middle of the lateral surface of the rail and then observing with bare eyes the clearances both left and right of the reference points. If any transverse bend is identified, use the transverse rectifier and follow the same steps as those for correcting the longitudinal bend. After completing the pressure welding, you can proceed to finish the rail by grinding it. Remove any burrs remaining on the rail. Then, using a disc grinder, polish the entire surface, closely following the contours of the rail. You must be very careful to leave no scratch and ensure a smooth surface. One last step. You must check the performance of the pressure welding. Here we show you the magnetic powder flaw detection method as the most common method of inspection. First, spray the finished rail with the magnetic powder. Projecting a black light ray on the powder surface will cause any defects to appear in white. If no defects are detected, you can be assured of having satisfactorily completed the pressure welding process. These are all the steps necessary